welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Cycle on Global Television. We are live in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Anthony Momodu. President Bola Tinubu has called for the establishment of a regional counter-terrorism center that will serve as a hub for intelligence sharing, operational coordination and capacity building in Africa. President Tinubu made this known at the African high-level meeting of counter-terrorism in Abuja. He stated that Africa must take a comprehensive approach to combating terrorism by addressing the root causes of the scourge, such as poverty, inequality, and social injustice. Fauzia Lukman has the rest of the story.
The African high-level meeting on counter-terrorism holding in Abuja offers a unique opportunity for key players to brainstorm on possible solutions to terrorism and violent extremism that have continued to spread across West Africa, the African continent, and the rest of the world at an alarming rate. President Bola Tinubu noted that to effectively counter the threats posed by terrorism to Africa, leaders in the continent must attack the roots that feed the evil branches, such as ransom and illegal mining, terrorism, and other perfect ways to continuously finance, re-equip, and resupply itself for its sinister mission.
Already, terrorism has taken too many lives and delayed our better future for too long. While terrorism troubles us greatly at the moment, we do well by remembering terrorism is not of Africa. We must tell this imported evil that wants to bend and break us that it shall not succeed. Instead of making us bow, we shall banish it. Let us resolve here.
The President added that besides the indispensability of a regional standby force which mandate includes tackling terrorism, the African region must also strengthen existing counter-terrorism structures such as the Regional Intelligence Fusion Unit (RIFU) in Abuja, the African Center for Study and Research on Terrorism (ACRTS) in Algiers, and the Committee of Intelligence and Security Services of Africa (CISA) in Addis Ababa.
Terrorism's arm is felt far and wide for very reason that there's no respect for national boundaries, ethnic, bloodless, or religious creed. We must therefore fight this threat together, combining determined national effort with well-tailored regional and international collaboration. The fight against terrorism requires a comprehensive approach. We must address the root cause of extremism, such as poverty, marginalization, and social injustice.
Under-Secretary General of the United Nations Office of Counter-Terrorism, UNOCT, Vladimir Voronkov, commended Nigeria for its leadership in counter-terrorism in Africa and for hosting the meeting. President Tinubu, however, commends the courage and dedication of Nigeria's security forces in the fight against terrorism and emphasized the need to halt the proliferation of small arms and light weapons on the continent. Fauzia Lukman, reporting for Global TV News.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has arrested former Minister of Aviation Hadi Sirika over an ongoing 8 billion naira money laundering probe. The indicted former Minister of Aviation arrived at the Federal Capital Territory Command of the EFCC at about 1 p.m. on Tuesday. Following his arrival at the command, Sirika is currently meeting with EFCC investigators to answer questions on alleged fraudulent contract awarded by him to a company known as Ingenuous Nigeria Limited, owned by his younger sibling, Abubakar Sirika. A federal high court in Abuja has adjourned till May 10th for ruling in the suit filed by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission against the immediate past governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello. Bello is facing a 19-count charge bordering on money laundering, breach of trust, and a misappropriation of funds to the tune of 80.2 billion naira. At the last hearing, Justice Emeka Nwite had adjourned for arraignment and ruling after Bello failed to show up in court for his arraignment. Just like last week, Bello was again absent for his arraignment in court on Tuesday. Pharmacy Council of Nigeria (PCN) has achieved its effort to redress the training of pharmacy support professionals, pharmaceutical technologists in the country by abolishing the certificate in the country. PCN has over 2 decades made effort to stop the training of pharmaceutical technologists by Nigerian polytechnics and other institutions outside the control and supervision of school or colleges of health education, whose programs and training are not duly regulated by the National Pharmaceutical Administrative Body. According to the content of the MOU, PCN and MBTE agreed to accredit and train qualified candidates only for National Diploma in Pharmacy technicians in approved institutions in the country. By this development, pharmaceutical technology, a 2-year program offered by some polytechnics and other institutions not supervised or regulated by the PCN, has been scrapped. The Nigerian Center for Disease Control and Prevention has activated a multi-partner, multi-sectoral incident management system to coordinate response efforts at all levels through the Emergency Operations Center. The NCDC said the move became necessary because it recorded 5,669 suspected cases of Lassa fever, resulting in 152 deaths, equating to a case fatality rate of 18.3%. The center noted that 832 cases had been confirmed across 27 states and 126 local government areas from January to April 14, adding that person-to-person transmission and laboratory infections can occur, especially in healthcare settings lacking adequate infection prevention and control measures. The Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has so far confirmed 8 deaths and over 208 suspected new cases following an outbreak of a strange illness in Sokoto State. Ibrahim Usman, manager of the center, said at an interactive section with officials of the State Ministry of Health that the incident happened in Sabon, Birin, and Isa local government areas of the state. He also said prompt measures were taken by the NCDC and the state government to control the spread of the yet-to-be-identified disease as samples were taken to the NCDC laboratories for analysis. He added that the illness manifested with symptoms of abdominal disorder, feverishness, vomiting, and sudden weight loss. Gobe urged the federal government to, as a matter of urgency, do the needful with a view to identifying and curtailing the continued spread of the disease to other areas of the state. The NCDC has so far deployed a National Rapid Response Team, NRRT, to work with the Ministry of Health to further investigate the matter. Troops of Operation Lake Sanity 3 under the Operation Hadinkai have reportedly discovered an Islamic State West African province ISWAP terrorist bread production factory hidden within their den in Meisani, Timbuktu Triangle, Damboa local government area of Borno State. According to intelligence sources quoted by security analyst and counter-insurgency expert Zagazola Makama, the combined troops of 199 Special Forces Battalion in conjunction with hybrid forces and civilian JTF stumbled upon the bread factory during an exploitation mission into the terrorist hideout. The sources said the factory was destroyed while items recovered include 2 Lester generating plants, 1 baking machine, and several baking materials. The Nigerian Labour Congress gave a strong indication that it would press for the inclusion of a clause which would prescribe sanctions for governors and local government administrators who failed to implement the new minimum wage. The National Treasurer of the NLC, Hakeem Ambali, who disclosed this in an interview in Abuja, says the refusal of the state governors to pay the current minimum wage was a result of lack of punitive measures in the Minimum Wage Act of 2019. President Bola Tinubu, through his Vice President Kashim Shettima, had on January 30, 2024, inaugurated the 37-member panel on the new minimum wage. With its membership cutting across federal and state government, the private sector and organized labor, the panel is to recommend a new national minimum wage for the country. 2 suspected Boko Haram individuals identified as improvised explosive device IED expert, 19-year-old Abubakar Muhammad alias Garba and 13-year-old Babagana Mudu, have laid down their arms and surrendered to the troops of Sector 3 Multinational Joint Task Force Mungunu in Borno State. The surrender marks a notable success in the ongoing campaign to dismantle Boko Haram's operations in the region. This was disclosed in a press statement signed by the Chief Military Public Information of the MNJTF in Jamena, Lieutenant Colonel Abubakar Abdullahi. As part of efforts to address the significant housing deficit affecting its officers, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetukun, has unveiled plans to establish a 100 billion naira police housing fund aimed at addressing the critical housing needs of personnel within the force. This announcement was made during the commencement of a 2-day police housing summit themed Renewed Hope for Police Housing in Nigeria. The police board says the summit aims to facilitate networking and strategic collaboration among stakeholders to advance housing vision for the Nigerian police. Sharon Ajay completes the story.
The Inspector General of Police underscores the pressing need to improve the living conditions of police officers, stressing that adequate housing is essential for enhancing their welfare and ultimately their effectiveness in service delivery. He laments on the current state of affairs, revealing that the Nigerian police force faces a significant housing shortage, with existing accommodations meeting only about 10% of the workforce's needs.
This premier event also aims at fostering comprehensive solutions for the swift delivery of quality, cost-effective housing solutions, both rental and owned, for our force members, active and retired. The objectives of the Nigeria Police Housing Summit 2024 are manifold, and these include to articulate a vision of effective and efficient housing as an essential tool for the welfare of the Nigerian police force, men and officers. To create a dynamic interactive platform that brings together key stakeholders in the housing sector, fostering collaboration towards achieving our housing vision. To propose actionable strategies for the rapid delivery of affordable housing. To facilitate the financing needed for the sustainable development and demand of affordable housing.
In his remark, Honorable Aminu Balele, chairman of the House Committee on Housing and Habitat, urged the police to leverage the summit to generate solid commitment for viable housing programs.
We cannot, with all good conscience, continue towards them in unpleasant conditions. It is essential to provide our dedicated officers with suitable, comfortable housing, both during and for service. Not only will this significantly augment the dignity of the police force, but it will also serve as a fundamental strategy to maintain the security of our communities and this nation at large.
Representing the Minister of Housing, Ahmed Dangiwa, Managing Director, Federal Mortgage, Usman Shehu Osidi, pledged government support to ensure affordable houses are delivered for effective policing of the citizenry.
As part of the seriousness attached to this agenda, the government has flagged up the development of 100,000 renewed Hope Cities and Estates program with the groundbreaking of a 3,112-unit pilot housing project in Karsana, FCT, by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR. The Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria an agency under the direct supervision of the ministry, is supporting this initiative with the provision of a 100 billion naira off-taker guarantee to the consortium of developers, in addition to its commitment to provide mortgage loans to the off-takers upon completion of the houses.
Sharna J. reporting for Global TV News.
You're watching News Cycle coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us on all social media platforms using @Global TV, NG, and other handles now showing on your screen. When News Cycle returns, CBN resumes forex sales to BDCs at $1,000 to $1. Speculators resume hoarding. These and other stories coming right after this break. Do stay with us. Welcome back from the break. This is Global Television bringing you live broadcasts of News Cycle. Thank you for staying with us. On the foreign scene, the Israeli military says the chief of its intelligence directorate has resigned after taking responsibility for failures leading to the unprecedented October 7 attack by Hamas. Major General Haron Haliva is the first high-ranking official to step down for failing to prevent the attack that shocked Israel and the international community. Major General Aaron Haliva is in coordination with the Chief of the General Staff has requested to end his position following his leadership responsibility as the head of the Intelligence Directorate for the events of October 7. The Hamas attack resulted in the death of 1,170 people, mostly civilians, according to the AFP tally based on official Israeli figures. Since then, Israel has vowed to eliminate Hamas and is engaged in a blistering assault against the militant group which rules the Gaza Strip. The Palestinian Territories Health Ministry said 34,097 people have been killed in Israel's military campaign in Gaza, most of them women and children. Two Malaysian Navy helicopters collided in mid-air as they flew in formation during a rehearsal for the military parade, killing all 10 crew on board. One of the aircraft clipped the rotor of the other before the two crashed into the ground. Footage published on local media showed the incident took place at around 9:30 local time in the Malaysian town of Lumut, which is home to the Royal Malaysian Navy base. There are no known survivors or victims were confirmed dead on site, and the remains were sent to the Lumut Military Hospital for identification. The Kenyan Police Service has arrested fleeing Binance executive Nadeem Ajawala as the International Criminal Police Organization moves to extradite him to Nigeria within the week. Following the development, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the International Criminal Police, and the Nigerian Police Force and the Kenyan Police Service have deepened talks to quicken Ajawala's extradition. Foreign portfolio investment FPI into the stock market rose by 167.8% year-on-year to 118.92 billion naira in February 2024 from 44.52 billion naira in the corresponding period in 2023, buoyed by improved liquidity in the forex exchange market following reforms by the Central Bank of Nigeria. The Nigerian Exchange Limited, NGX, disclosed this in its domestic and foreign portfolio investment report for February 2024, which showed a 0.3% increase to 11.78% in share of the FPI in the total equities transactions of the 1.009 trillion naira during the period. Further analysis shows that To date, FPI inflow at 40.71 billion naira represented 37.9% of the total foreign investment commitment, while outflows at 78.2 represented 62.1% of the foreign portfolio investment. Torrential rainfall have led to the disappearance of 11 persons with thousands of people evacuated in southern China. The state media reports the intense rainfall affecting the Guangdong province has swelled rivers and heightened fears of what could be a century's worst flooding scenario. A total of 11 people are missing after continuous heavy rainfall hit many parts of Guangdong in recent days, reported Zhuang Xin, citing the local emergency management department. In response to the escalating flood risk, authorities have moved more than 53,000 people to safer locations throughout the province. In business, the naira depreciated in its value against the United States dollar to 1,234 naira at the official foreign exchange market on Monday, according to data obtained from the FMDQ Security Exchange. The exchange rate means the naira fell by 65 naira or 5.26% from 1,169 naira 99 kobo to a dollar recorded on Friday. The local currency had strengthened to around 1,072 naira 74 kobo on Wednesday, as traders projected the naira could trade below 1,000 naira to a dollar for the first time. The Central Bank of Nigeria has approved the sale of an additional $10,000 to 1,583 eligible Bureau de Change BDCs in the country to meet market demands. The Director of Trade and Exchange Department of the CBN, Dr. Hassan Mahmoud, made this known in a letter addressed to the President Association of Bureau de Change Operators of Nigeria in Abuja. Mahmoud said the CBN would sell to the BDCs at the rate of 1,021 naira to a dollar. He directed all eligible BDCs to commence payment of naira deposit to some designated CBN naira deposit account numbers. The presidency has said it is set to launch about 2,700 compressed natural gas-powered buses and tricycles before May 29th, when the President Bola Tinubu turns 1 year in office. It said the federal government was set to deliver 100 conversion workshops and 60 refueling sites spread across 18 states before the end of 2024. The special advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, revealed this in a statement he signed on Sunday titled Presidential CNG Initiative Set for Rollout. From the end of May, Nigeria will take some baby steps to join such nations that already have large fleets of CNG vehicles. And that's how we call it a wrap on the news cycle. I am Anthony Momodu.